Now on Coast TV News.
One more day of excessive heat for Delmarva, then gradually cooler conditions with showers and thunderstorms beginning Thursday and continuing into the weekend. Forecast details coming up.
Future of District 20 after the bombshell resignation of Sussex County Representative Stell Parker-Selby. What's next for the leadership of parts of Lewis and Milton? In the dark and in the heat, Lewis locals hit by back-to-back power outages and how the BPW is responding. A fragile peace, a global stage. President Trump joins world leaders at the NATO summit while questions swirl about Iran's nuclear program.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. Thank you for joining us for our 6 o'clock hour. And we are now taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning. It will be another scorcher across the peninsula today, but we have lots of tips to help you stay cool and stay safe. And that's our top story this morning. It's the heat, and First Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey. We're going to bring him in right now. Bob's going to tell us about these temperatures. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Elisa, and good news. We're almost to the finish line. This is the last day of the extreme heat, and I hear all the applause out there in the audience. We're looking at 70s to low 80s right now. So it's another morning with stifling warm temperatures, and we've got humidity to go along with it. So it already feels like mid to upper 80s with the humidity, and the sun's been only up for about 20 minutes. We've got light wind, so it's going to be much like yesterday. Really no wind, really stagnant out there. And we still have the extreme heat warning from areas like Milton to Laurel, Delmarva, Bridgeville, Georgetown. Along the coast, you're a little cooler, so as a result, heat advisory until 8 p.m. this evening. That's also the case for places around Ocean City. And then inland from there towards Salisbury, extreme heat warning until 8 p.m. And that's also the case for the eastern tree. You can see how expansive these heat warnings and advisories are all across the area, as the major metro areas will be seeing temperatures well into the triple digits. For us, we're seeing clear skies right now. We're still dealing with that hot dome over the top of us, but it's starting to get suppressed, and eventually we will start to cool down, but not until tomorrow, as temperatures quickly surge to the 80s today. By noon, already in the mid-90s. I think more records fall this afternoon with mid to upper 90s, maybe an isolated 100 well inland with 80s and 90s at the beaches. So take care in this heat, as we're going to be seeing triple-digit feels-like temperatures into the afternoon, maybe as hot as 105. And our morning commute, I gave it the green light, warm and humid. And make sure you have one of those foily things for your windshield, because your car can get as hot as 130 degrees. So be very careful in this heat, and maybe use an oven mitt to open the door. It could be that hot sometimes.
Thank you, Bob. Well, staying cool in Sussex County just got a little easier. The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is offering cooling stations to anyone in need. The agency says those facilities will be open today from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. People can head to the Adams State Service Center in Georgetown, also the State Service Centers in Bridgeville, Laurel, and Milford. This is now going to bring us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what is most important during these heat waves. And so far, 77% of voters say stay hydrated. I've been drinking a ton of water myself. Also, 11% help others, 8% no heat-related illnesses, and 4% take breaks. And if you have not voted yet, you can still do so at coasttv.com or over on our mobile app. Developing news in Delaware on the very day that Stell Parker-Selby resigned, the Democratic Speaker of the House is embroiled in another leadership issue. State Representative Sharia Moore of Middletown sent this cease and desist letter to Speaker Minor Brown. Moore accuses the Speaker of alleged retaliation and defamation. According to the letter, the claims stem from a dispute over Senate Bill 21, a bill that changed Delaware's corporate law. The letter alleges Minor Brown retaliated after Moore spoke out against the bill, and that comments Minor Brown made to Delaware public media were defamatory. Moore's attorneys are demanding a public apology within 30 days, where they say legal action could follow. We reached out to Speaker Minor Brown about that cease and desist letter. She said she had not gotten the chance to read it yet and said, quote, "Right now, with 3 days of the session left, I'm focused on making sure we meet our constitutional deadline to pass a balanced budget by June 30th and that we're delivering for our constituents." Again, this comes after Sussex County Representative Stell Parker-Selby resigned Monday morning. The resignation comes after Parker-Selby was absent for all 6 months of the current legislative session, and after months that Coast TV was trying to get answers for the people of the 20th District. The resignation came in the form of a letter from Stell Parker Selby herself. And so what is next? Well, that's a special election in District 20. House Speaker Melissa Minor Brown can issue a writ of elections up to 10 days after the District 20 seat becomes vacant. So that's now until July 30th. Once that happens, then the date of that special election would be finalized. It has to be within 30 to 35 days of the writ of elections being issued. Candidates can file only once that writ has been issued. As for the candidates who could file for that vacant seat, new overnight Nikki Miller is expected to file to run as a Republican contender today. This is for the 2026 election, but Miller says she will file for a special election once the writ of election is declared. Miller lost to Parker Selby back in November by just 275 votes. Miller told us she was already preparing to file for that 2026 race, but now intends to run in that special election once everything is finalized. Happening today after months of planning, the Georgetown Council is making moves to address crashes at the Circle. The Circle Advisory Committee will give an update on implementing recommendations approved by town council members. According to officials, plans include replacing one-way signs with reflective arrows, adding more 15-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, and installing blinking lights on roundabout signs. They're also going to strengthen bollards to help prevent damage. Some locals say these changes are overdue.
It was a very rare occurrence, and then all of a sudden it became almost a weekly occurrence. I would come to work and there would be a lamppost down. I would come to work and notice that someone had crashed into one of the flower beds.
According to the town, these improvements could cost a little over $30,000. New this morning, Lewis BPW saying it is investigating after several power outages this week. The agency says the cause is possibly due to an equipment issue, and a special contractor is working to evaluate. Starting around 9 p.m. Monday night, there have been at least 4 outages, with the last one possibly around 4 a.m. on Tuesday. As of now, power is said to be fully restored. However, Lewis BPW is asking customers to conserve energy as much as possible. And we are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. President Trump is not there. He is spending his first full day along with top global leaders. This is new reports suggest Iran's nuclear program may not be as damaged as the administration has said. NBC's Alice Barr shows us how now Democrats are demanding details.
President Trump at the NATO summit in the Netherlands with key allies touting a diplomatic win between two sworn enemies as a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran appears to be holding. Recounting in flight how he urged Israel's prime minister to back off a planned retaliatory strike. At the same time, there are new questions about how effective U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites were, with a preliminary assessment by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency estimating Iran's nuclear program has been delayed by 3 to 6 months. That's according to 3 people with knowledge of the report. The White House calling that assessment flat out wrong. President Trump has repeatedly said Iran's nuclear capabilities were totally obliterated.
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock.
But one of the sources said core pieces remain intact. Questions also over what Iran may have moved from its nuclear sites before the U.S. strikes. Top Democrats in Congress accusing the Trump administration of misrepresenting the truth about the damage, questioning why the White House delayed planned briefings lawmakers have been demanding.
What are they running away from?
The head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog pointing to an important degree of visible damage.
The Iranian nuclear program has been set back significantly.
While acknowledging no one could fully assess the destruction underground at the key Fordo site, pressing Iran to resume diplomacy for a long-term solution. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We are just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today. We still have a lot more news to get to. Coming up, Coastal Bay's Forge Forward. We'll tell you what they are focusing on for the future after reaching a major milestone this week. And conserve energy on the coast. We'll give you tips as the heat wave continues. In households, a major milestone. We'll tell you what the Sussex County Habitat for Humanity is set to celebrate this morning. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
Exactly 6:12 on this Wednesday morning, getting ready for another sweltering day. Just has that look right now in Laurel, 74 degrees, and lots of us already in the low 80s. That's a stifling morning once again. Feels like temperatures already mid 80s in some places. We're heading to the triple digits again today as we're looking at that heat dome still over the top of us with clear skies and high pressure. But it's one last day of extreme heat, then we do start to cool down. And if you are brave enough to head out to the golf course, once again, be really careful out there. Take breaks and bring a lot of water and sunscreen. 98 feels like temperatures 105 into the afternoon hours.
Thank you, Bob. A special celebration is happening today in Rehoboth Beach as Sussex County Habitat for Humanity celebrates a major milestone, according to the organization. Today it will host its 200th home dedication. It says it wants to bring out 200 people to celebrate those 200 homes. Today's dedication is in Rehoboth Beach, and this is a video of a similar event for another family in Milford earlier this year. Organizers say today's event will take place at 9 a.m. New this morning, summer is here and the city of Lewis's maintenance team is hitting the streets. The city says over the next few months, crews will be keeping up with our alleyways, roads, and parking lots. They'll make sure they keep them in top shape with curb painting, roadway striping, and regular upkeep. Work is scheduled Wednesdays through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., weather permitting. Also new this morning, a road closure is happening today on East Church Street as crews replace a fire hydrant. The city says that closure is located between Marshall Street and Clay Street. You can see that area on your screen right now. Work is taking place from 7 a.m. to 3:30. Chick-fil-A is on top once again in customer satisfaction. It's the 11th year in a row for the Georgia-based chain to rank first among quick service restaurants. The American Customer Satisfaction Index is based on surveys of more than 16,000 people. Chick-fil-A came out on top with a score of 83 out of 100. King's Hawaiian is celebrating its 75th anniversary with a new look. The Sweet Buns and Rolls Company debuted a new modernized logo for its products. This comes as many consumers are watching their grocery bills a little closer. According to research, the rolls and bun sales have dropped roughly over 1% over the past year.
The pool's ready to go in Lewis. Looks like I see a pole there. Looks like somebody is vacuuming the pool, getting it ready. One more day of extreme heat for Delmarva, then gradually cooling down with increasing showers beginning Thursday into the weekend. Hang on, we're almost to the finish line. Your forecast details coming up in 2 minutes.
Time is now 6:16 and we are taking a live look outside at Lewis this morning, and we are preparing for another really warm day. That is a beautiful sunrise shot there. That sun's going to be brutal today. Bob, we've been talking about keeping people safe in the heat. We got to remember our furry friends as well.
That's right, our four-legged friends. I would walk them before 9 today, Elisa, because after that, it's just going to start getting really hot. So we're looking at scorching pavement now. When it's up to 95 degrees, which will probably be later this morning, here's how hot things get. 140 on the asphalt, 125 on the concrete, grass 105, and even the shaded grass 90 degrees there. Little paws can burn in 5 minutes at 120 degrees, and that could occur in 1 minute at 140 degrees. I saw somebody walking their Yorkies yesterday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That is not a good idea, so just exercise caution out there. We had a record high yesterday of 100 in Georgetown. I think we're going to see another one today. I'm forecasting 98. 96 is the previous record back in 1952. And before yesterday, it was July 21st in 2019. That was the last time we saw 100. Another day of extreme heat with an extreme heat warning from Milton down to Shelbyville, Delmar up to Bridgeville. Right along the immediate coast, you have a heat advisory until this evening from Lewis down into Ocean City. So slightly cooler there, but then you go inland, Liberty Town to Salisbury, and then for the eastern shore as well, an extreme heat warning through this evening, 8 p.m. And you can see how expansive these heat warnings and advisories are. So it's going to be hot up and down the East Coast for one last day. We're looking at clear skies right now, or mostly clear skies, a few clouds to the south, but pretty much the same thing as yesterday with that dome of heat over the top of us, but it's starting to get suppressed a little bit. That ridge is breaking down as we have a front to the north with showers along the periphery of this ridge, and eventually a backdoor cold front moves in Friday, and that will cool us down even more. But right now, not cool. Stifling 70s and low 80s, and with high dew points, feels like temperatures already into the mid to upper 80s and headed for the triple digits as we're looking at very little in the way of wind right now, and temperatures quickly quickly skyrocketing, almost 90 by mid-morning. By noon, we're into the mid-90s from Salisbury to Millsboro. Some relief at the beaches, and then I think more records fall this afternoon as we're into the mid to upper 90s, maybe near 100 near Salisbury interior areas. A little cooler at the beaches. Very hot through this evening, and then through the overnight, another warm night, mid-70s tomorrow morning, and then a change on Thursday. We're going to be seeing temperatures close to 90, but then a better chance of showers and storms, some with heavy rain, gusty winds. So that will cool us off finally into the afternoon. Then a backdoor cold front moves in on Friday. Easterly wind, and that keeps us much cooler, more comfortable into Friday. This is going to be beautiful. Much of the day in the 70s, maybe some low 80s, and still that chance of a shower or storm as we're looking at very humid to miserable conditions continuing. But I think with the cooler conditions Friday, it's more tolerable. And then we'll see a warm front lift back through as we go through the weekend. And with that, a chance of afternoon showers and storms as we go into Saturday and Sunday. I don't think we're looking at a washout. Paul, they have a 7-day forecast. Last day of extreme heat with a high of 98. 90 Thursday with showers and storms, and really nice on Friday. 80 with showers and storms, and then back into the upper 80s this weekend with mainly afternoon storms, and then the lower 90s early next week, and still a threat for some showers and storms.
Whether you're in the water or under an umbrella, everyone's dealing with the heat, but the sun is not stopping everyone from having fun. People are still enjoying the beach and walking along the boardwalk. People we spoke with say it was less crowded due to the heat, but let's not forget everyone who is working outside during these temperatures. One person who came from Serbia has been placing umbrellas down in the sand for people to take cover. And with this being his first year working in Ocean City, he says people couldn't be nicer when it comes to helping him deal with all of the heat.
Go to some restaurant or something like that, and they give us water for free. There's a lot of good people, so they help us a lot.
And if you're planning to hit the beach or take a walk along the boardwalk this summer, make sure you're prepared to face the heat. And to help with that, here are some recommendations we found on the Sussex County government's website. Wear light-colored and lightweight clothing. Lighter clothing deflects sunlight and will not absorb heat like dark materials. Stay in properly ventilated areas, have plenty of water available, and avoid alcoholic and sugary beverages. With the intense heat, it is important to conserve energy to avoid outages. Some recommendations from the Sussex County Emergency Operations Center include setting air conditioners to 80 degrees or use fans instead, delay using high-energy appliances such as washing machines and dryers until after 8 p.m., and prepare light summer meals that require minimal, if any, cooking. Still ahead on Coast TV News today, Coastal Bays Forge Forward will tell you what the organization is focusing on for improvements over the next 10 years. Don't go anywhere. New overnight, Ocean City is announcing plans to celebrate the 4th of July. According to the town, there will be 2 locations to view fireworks, downtown at Caroline Street Stage or uptown at Northside Park. The event starts at 8 p.m. with music, and then the sky will light up at 9:30 p.m. DART is encouraging people planning to take the beach bus to the show to grab wristbands early. Another 10 years of improving the coastal bays, that's what lawmakers are celebrating in Ocean City. This week, officials from across the state of Maryland came together to sign a 10-year plan that focuses on the health and long-term sustainability of the coastal bays. Kevin Smith, the executive director of the Maryland Coastal Bays program, says improvements have been made, but problems are still hitting the coast.
Recently, one of the challenges that we've had are island loss and marsh loss. We've lost a lot of tidal marsh due to sea level rise and other factors.
According to the Maryland Coastal Bays program, the 4 main things they will be focusing on within the next 10 years are to provide healthy waters, protect wildlife, create resilient ecosystems, and get public engagement. And Bob, we have another hot day along the coast. I believe you said yesterday your favorite way to cool down is chocolate ice cream.
Oh, yes.
Have you gotten any?
Not recently, but I'm going to have to get
Today's
some
your
soon.
day. You need to. Today's a good excuse. It's really hot outside. You have to have ice cream.
And if you have that ice cream cone outside, Elisa,
Eat it
it's going
fast.
to melt in a hurry, so eat it fast.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, especially on the beach with the hot sand and all that. Chincoteague and Assateague well into the 80s today. Flirting with 90 at Chincoteague, maybe slightly cooler in Assateague, but the UV index is extreme, so really be careful out there with that high sun angle. 90 in Fenwick Island around noon. You're looking at low 90. 90s, mid to upper 80s in Ocean City. Waves around 1 to 2 feet. On the bay side, cooling down, not today, 98 today, but then it's 90 with storms Thursday, 80 on Friday. That's going to be delightful. And then Crisfield, very hot today, but then a little cooler through Thursday and Friday. I think you too will see showers and storms as this is the last day of the intense heat. I hear all the cheering out there. I'll have much more on your forecast coming up in the next half hour.
After the break on Coast TV News today, power outage problem. We'll tell you the efforts Lewis BPW is taking to investigate after several events within 24 hours. And a close to crashes at the Circle. We'll tell you new solutions Georgetown leaders have approved. And handling the heat wave, we'll tell you when cooling stations across Delmarva will open for operations. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
One more day of excessive heat for Delmarva, then gradually cooler conditions with showers and thunderstorms beginning Thursday and continuing into the weekend. Forecast details coming up.
Future of District 20 after the bombshell resignation of Sussex County Representative Stell Parker-Selby. What's next for the leadership of parts of Lewis and Milton? In the dark and in the heat, Lewis locals hit by back-to-back power outages and how the BPW is responding. A fragile peace, a global stage. President Trump joins world leaders at the NATO summit while questions swirl about Iran's nuclear program.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Matt Pensick has the day off. Thank you for joining us. It is about 6:30 on this Wednesday morning, and we are now taking a live look outside at Ocean View. You're going to want to be near the ocean today or in the water because we have another scorcher on the way. First Alert meteorologist Bob Trahey, he's going to join us right now to tell us a little bit about these hot temperatures. But Bob, we're going to get some relief soon.
We are, Elisa. This is the last day of the extreme heat, and you definitely want to be near a body of water today. In the water, near it, a pool, bay, ocean, something like that. We're looking at 70s and low 80s already this morning. It's another stifling start out there, and with the humidity, already feels like 84 in Georgetown, 87 in Rehoboth, and we're looking at triple-digit feels like temperatures again this afternoon. Very little wind. That is not going to help today, as we still have an extreme heat warning interior Sussex County from Milford to Delmar, Millsboro, Selbyville, right along the immediate coast. Not as hot, but still a heat advisory through 8 p.m. this evening. Also is the case towards the Maryland shore, and then inland from there into Salisbury. Once again, extreme heat warning, and that's also the case for the eastern shore. Then that will go away as we go into the evening hours, as we're looking at that heat all up and down the east coast. But once again, it is the last day of the heat as we're looking at the clear skies and that high pressure area just suppressing all the clouds, and that heat dome is starting to collapse a little bit. So once again, this is the last day of the intense heat. Then we start to cool down tomorrow, but temperatures quickly skyrocketing again this morning into the mid 90s by noon away from the coast, 80s and 90s at the beaches, and I think more records will fall as we go into this afternoon with upper 90s inland areas, another sweltering evening, and then some areas up to feeling like 105 in Berlin, 103 in Millsboro. So once again, feeling like triple digits. So really be careful out there if you're cutting the grass. Now, it's not going to rain today, so good conditions, but then fair conditions Thursday through Saturday as rain chances increase. But the good news is it starts to cool down. More on the cool down coming up a little bit later on.
And with that heat wave, there are cooling centers open in Wicomico County. There is one at the Wicomico County Civic Center. It is operational through this evening. People can stop in from 3 to 5 p.m. Developing news in Delaware on the very day that Stell Parker-Selby resigns, the Democratic Speaker of the House is embroiled in another leadership issue. State Representative Sharia Moore of Middletown sent this cease and desist letter to Speaker Minor Brown. Moore accuses the Speaker of alleged retaliation and defamation. According to the letter, the claims stem from a dispute over Senate Bill 21, a bill that changed Delaware's corporate law. The letter alleges Minor Brown retaliated after Moore spoke out against the bill, and that comments Minor Brown made to Delaware public media were defamatory. Moore's attorneys are demanding a public apology within 30 days, or they say legal action could follow. We reached out to Speaker Minor Brown about that cease and desist letter. She said she had not gotten the chance to read it yet and said, quote, "Right now, with 3 days of the session left, I'm focused on making sure we meet our constitutional deadline to pass a balanced budget by June 30th and that we're delivering for our constituents." Again, this comes after Sussex County Representative Stell Parker-Selby resigned Monday morning. And so what's next? Well, that's a special election in District 20. House Speaker Melissa Minor Brown can issue a writ of elections up to 10 days after the District 20 seat becomes vacant. So that's now until July 3rd. Once that happens, then the date of that special election can be finalized. It has to be within 30 to 35 days of the writ of elections being issued. Candidates can file only once that writ has been issued. And as for the candidates who could file for that now vacant seat, new overnight Nikki Miller is expected to file to run as the Republican contender today. This is for the 2026 election, but Miller says she will file for that special election once the writ of elections is declared. Miller lost to Parker-Selby back in November by just 275 votes. Miller told us she was already preparing to file for the 2026 race, but now intends to run in that special election once everything is finalized. Happening today, after months of planning, the Georgetown Council is making moves to address crashes at the Circle. The Circle Advisory Committee will give an update on implementing recommendations approved by town council members. According to officials, plans include replacing one-way signs with reflective arrows, adding more 15-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, and installing blinking lights on roundabout signs. They'll also strengthen bollards to help prevent damage. According to the town, these improvements could cost a little over $30,000. Happening now, Lewis BPW says it's investigating after several power outages this week. The agency says the cause is possibly due to an equipment issue, and a special contractor is working to evaluate that. Starting around 9 p.m. Monday night, there may have been at least 4 outages, with the last one possibly around 4 a.m. on Tuesday. As of now, that power is said to be fully restored. However, Lewis BPW is asking customers to conserve energy as much as possible. We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump says he wants to sign what he calls his big, beautiful bill by July 4th. GOP leaders hope to hold a Senate floor vote on this bill this week. Amy Kiley shows us the final negotiations and revisions.
You're looking at whether or not you're going to allow the perfect to become the enemy of the good.
The Senate could vote this week on President Donald Trump's sweeping domestic policy legislation.
It's a plan to cut taxes, lower prices, secure the border, and of course to strengthen our nation.
Trump calls it his big, beautiful bill. Democrats say there's nothing beautiful about it.
They're cutting Medicaid, food assistance, childcare, making it harder for women to participate in the workforce. All to give tax breaks to people who already have access to all of these things.
GOP leaders are scrambling to secure enough support to pass the bill with a simple majority. One sticking point is Medicaid. The Senate plan could cut it more deeply than the House version. Democrats worry millions could lose health insurance as a result. Some Republicans have concerns, too.
The leader needs to get with the rural hospitals, and he needs to satisfy their concerns and make sure that they can stay open.
Another point of contention among Republicans is a provision raising the state and local tax deduction cap. The bill also would extend trillions of dollars in tax cuts and raise the debt ceiling.
At the point Republicans vote unanimously or virtually unanimously for the debt ceiling, they own the debt.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
President Trump is spending his first full day at the NATO summit in the Netherlands. This after there are new questions about how effective those U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites were. A preliminary assessment by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency estimating Iran's nuclear program has been delayed by 3 to 6 months. That's according to 3 people with knowledge of the report. The White House calling that assessment flat out wrong.
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock.
The Iranian nuclear program has been set back significantly.
The head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog acknowledging no one could fully assess the destruction underground at the key site and pressing Iran to resume diplomacy for a long-term solution. And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, tragic end to turtle spotting. We'll tell you what the Muir Institute is encouraging after they say this turtle most likely died from a preventable injury. And a red-hot night for most of our local teams. These athletes came out on top in dominating fashion. And managing farmer mental health, we'll tell you how Delaware Agency is taking action to prevent tragedies. Stay with us on CoastTV News Today.
We salute Donald Fitzgerald, Donald Fitzgerald served bravely with the 1st Cavalry Division during the Vietnam War. While stationed in An Khê, he carried out the dangerous and vital task of recovering downed aircraft and equipment under combat conditions. His courage and dedication exemplify the strength and sacrifice of those who served. We proudly salute Mr. Fitzgerald for his honorable service to our nation.
Spicer Brothers and Coast TV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a Coast TV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
6:40 on our Wednesday morning as we're gearing up for another sweltering day. Just has that look right now in Laurel. 76 and incredibly muggy right now. Already lower 80s from Georgetown to Rehoboth, Lewis, and Bethany Beach. And with the humidity, already feeling like 88 in Rehoboth. And we're going to be having those triple digit feels like temperatures later on, as it's more the same today, mainly clear under that hot dome of air. But that dome will be getting suppressed, and this is the last day of the extreme heat. Drink lots of water. Make sure you dress for summer. I know you've heard these items before, but just to reiterate, make sure you have a cold beverage. Take frequent breaks in the heat today. Make sure you have sunscreen, and you'll need the sunglasses as well. And congratulations to Yoruba Rose from Smyrna, Delaware, on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
A somber update from the Murr Institute. The organization is saying that they believe this turtle you see here most likely died from injuries after being hit by a boat propeller. According to Murr, on Saturday, the animal was seen surfacing rapidly and appeared to be struggling. Sea turtles are an endangered species, and Murr says boaters can help prevent these tragedies by installing a propeller guard. This just in, new data shows the Chesapeake Bay's blue crab population is not being overfished, but it's still hovering near historic lows. According to the 2025 Blue Crab Advisory Report, this year's population is 238 million crabs, down from 317 million in 2024. That's the second lowest total since records began back in 1990. Scientists are now investigating habitat loss, predators, salinity, and climate factors. New this morning, downtown Salisbury will be filled with celebration on Saturday, June 28th, as the annual Pride Parade and Festival returns. The city says to expect road closures and increased foot traffic along the downtown area from noon to 8 p.m., including parts of Division, Main, Camden, and West Market streets. That event will feature food, music, and vendors.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good morning, everybody. Our local teams brought the heat last night. No, it wasn't just the weather. We're going to start things off in field hockey. It's Smyrna and Caesar Rodney Presley Bebout getting things started. 1-0 for the Eagles, but Caesar Rodney has an answer. Grace Antonio on cleanup duty, and we are knotted at 1. Time is winding down. Ainsley McCarthy all by herself. What does she do? Finds the back of the cage. Caesar Rodney comes out on top, 2-1. And we did say our local teams were red hot. The Delmarva Shorebirds defeated the Carolina Mudcats in dominating fashion in Game 1 of the series last night, 13-6. Game 2 on the Delmarva Sports Network tonight at 7:05 p.m. Over in the big leagues, the Orioles fell to the Texas Rangers 6-5 in 10 innings. Baltimore rallied from a 4-0 deficit in the 7th inning, but Texas squeaked by late. The series finale takes place tonight at 6:35 p.m. That's all for sports. Have a great day, everybody.
And here's what's coming up tonight on DSN. Your game of the night at 7 o'clock. You can catch the Shorebirds take on the Carolina Mudcats. Then at 10:30, it's the final score. And on the DSN Plus app at 5 p.m., it's High School League boys basketball. Then at 6 p.m., more boys basketball at Crown Sports Center High School League. Also at 6 p.m., DE Turf High School League in boys soccer. If you are having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And here's what's coming up this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
Hope you're having a good day so far here along coastal Delmarva, and if you tune into Coast Life at 4, maybe we'll make it a little bit brighter because we're going to be exploring a new facility with our friends at BB Healthcare. Our field correspondent had a chance to check out the ribbon cutting as well.
Plus, if you're trying to keep your kids busy during summer and maybe even have a little creative slant to it, there's an art option for them this year at Milton Art Guild. You won't want to miss that.
Ooh, can't wait. All that fun and more is going to be happening today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
The water looking really inviting on the gutter helmet cam. You want to be near or in water today with one more day of extreme heat for Delmarva, then gradually cooling down with increasing showers and storms Thursday into the weekend. The weekend not looking like a washout. I'll have your full forecast details in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:47 and we are taking a live look outside at Ocean View this morning. And Bob, we see some water there. If you're able to get into the water today, I recommend that's the best place to be. Float around in the pool if you're able to. Nice. Sounds pretty nice, but just like yesterday, Bob, we are experiencing some hot weather, but yesterday was quite the scorcher.
It was the scorcher, and the records fell, Elisa, as we saw triple-digit heat. Redden looks like topped the list of 103, Willard's 101, and a new record high in Georgetown, 100 degrees, with Milford and Seaford, Bridgeville, Harrington, Greenwood, and Laurel all topping out at 98. And that record high of 100, that's the first time we've seen 100 since July 21st of 2019, so it's been several years. And I think we'll see another record fall today. Don't think we're going to hit 100. 98, so 2 degrees cooler, and the record high is 96 back in 1952. I think we'll surpass that. Another extreme heat warning now in effect for interior parts of Sussex County, Westwoods to Millsboro, Georgetown, Milford, Andrewsville, down to Laurel. All going to be feeling like 105 at times this afternoon. Slightly cooler heat advisory from Lewis down to Ocean City. That goes until 8 o'clock this evening. And then farther inland, that extreme heat warning until 8 or so for Salisbury and once again for the Eastern Shore, as it's going to be sweltering once again away from the coast. And you can see it all the way from the Carolinas to D.C., New York. We're looking at those very hot conditions. But we're starting to see these watches and warnings starting to get whittled away a little bit, as we'll be seeing this ridge gradually collapsing, and we'll see more in the way of some cooler air building in tomorrow and especially Friday. But right now it's clear skies with that heat dome still over us. A few clouds moving in from the ocean, but you can see all the red indicating just the sweltering conditions. But on the edge of this ridge is a front with showers and storms, and eventually that front will drop in, increasing our chances for storms as we go into tomorrow, then a lot cooler as we go into your Friday. Temperatures now very mild and muggy, 70s and 80s, and with dew point temperatures well into the 70s, already feeling like upper 80s in many spots, and the winds are light and they're really not going to help us out all that much today, as by late morning we're already in the low 90s, mid 90s by noon. More records falling this afternoon with mid to upper 90s, as hot as 98 in Seaford with 80s and 90s at the coast. A sweltering evening on the way. Take it easy. Another warm night with mid 70s by tomorrow morning. Then some changes tomorrow. I think we're going to see lower 90s early in the afternoon hours, then a better chance of some showers and storms, and these could bring heavier rain and gusty winds, and that will cool us off. And then eventually the flow turns out of the east with the backdoor cold front, and Friday much more comfortable. Much of the day we're in the 70s, maybe some lower 80s with some showers and storms, but it's going to feel much better at that time. It's still going to be muggy, in fact very humid as we go through the next several days, but at least the temperatures cool off. And then we're going to see warmer conditions for the weekend with more afternoon showers and storms both Saturday and Sunday, but I don't think it's going to wash away your weekend plans. With one last code red today, 98 for the extreme heat, and then 90 Thursday with storms, and then Friday pretty nice, 80 with showers and storms, and then upper 80s into the weekend. Once again, not a washout, mainly afternoon and evening storms, and the same into Monday and Tuesday. A little warmer with highs in the low 90s.
A longtime member of the Salisbury Police Department died unexpectedly, and now funeral arrangements have been announced. According to the department, Senior Corporal Ryan Mitchell was found at his home on Friday, June 20th. Mitchell served the department for 30 years. His funeral service will be July 2nd at Emmanuel Wesleyan Church. The department says the viewing will take place from 10 a.m. to 10:45, with the service beginning at 11 a.m. Putting the focus on farmers' mental health in Delaware, earlier this year, the Delaware Farm Bureau and Department of Agriculture launched a new awareness campaign, putting these stickers out as a small reminder for farmers in need. We spoke with Steve Breeding, president of the Sussex County Farm Bureau and a sheep farmer himself. He says his own dark times have driven his need to spread awareness.
There's a lot of guys out there that think bad thoughts and think real deep, dark thoughts. And I'm not the only one, so I realized, hey, we need to get this story out there. So it's just kind of been my mission for the past 6 months or so to get mental health awareness through farming and the ag industry.
According to the National Rural Health Association, farmers are over 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than the general population. And the time is now 6:52, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day. And today's coastal pet of the day loves the beach. On your screen right now is Trixie. As you can see, Trixie is taking the water to stay cool in all of this heat. This beach baby was submitted to us by Randy and Lewis, and we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen, scan that QR code at the top of your screen to submit your furry friend to Coast TV News. Then, of course, watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all of the pets we feature. The time is now 6:55, and here are the things you need to know before you go. Happening today, after months of planning, the Georgetown Council is making moves to address crashes at the Circle. The Circle Advisory Committee will give an update on implementing recommendations approved by town council members. According to officials, plans include replacing one-way signs with reflective arrows, adding more 15-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, and installing blinking lights on roundabout signs. Lewis BPW says it's investigating after several power outages this week. The agency says the cause is possibly due to an equipment issue, and a special contractor is working to evaluate. As of now, power is said to be fully restored. However, Lewis BPW is asking customers to conserve energy as much as possible. A road closure is happening today on East Church Street in Salisbury as crews replace a fire hydrant. The city says that closure is located between Marshall Street and Clay Street. You can see that area on your screen right now. Work is taking place from 7 a.m. to 3:30. And the time is now 6:56, so we're going to take another look at our forecast before you head out the door this morning. Bob, we've got another hot day before you leave for work. Grab your water bottle, maybe a little portable fan. I need to get one of those.
You have one of those foily things for your windshield to keep
getting in the
car
hot car.
cooler. And it's one last day of excessive heat, and then we cool down. So we're almost to the finish line, but it's going to be another scorcher, upper 90s. Inland areas slightly cooler at the beaches. Then you factor in the humidity, and it's going to be feeling like 103 to 105 away from the coast, even at the beaches, feeling like low to mid 90s. That's why it's a code red. So really be careful out there. Make sure you scan the QR code right there. Download the Coast TV weather app to stay apprised of the heat. Then we get a break from the heat tomorrow. Still hot, 90 with showers and storms. Friday's going to be delightful. 80 the high with a few showers, maybe a couple of storms, and then hit and miss storms into the weekend. Not a washout, upper 80s, lower 90s early next week. More storms, not nearly as hot as this wave. And can you believe it? Next Friday is the 4th of July. And right now, looking good, partly cloudy and 85.
I can't believe how close 4th of July is, Bob. Well, thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today. The Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m. Then we'll be back for Coast TV Midday at 11. And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great morning.